Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest is Buster Mabrey, Executive Director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. And Buster, thanks for coming on. Big week for you.
Yeah, it's a busy week, that's for sure, We got a lot of basketball going on, and we're going to highlight some of the best kids in the state of New Mexico, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I tell you, I want to thank you for letting me come to the meeting on Sunday with all the coaches in there and actually watch them, how they picked, and how it was very enjoyable, and I learned a lot from it. So,
well, I appreciate you being there, Steve. It's people see the results and they really don't know the process. And in the end, the other day we picked 42 teams. We picked 12 all-star teams and 30 all-state teams across all classifications, both male and female. And honestly, coaches ranked them in their districts. They have to have a meeting there. They have to submit that information to us online. And then we brought in about 160 coaches on Sunday, and they all sat down at a table with their district rankings, and they had to determine those teams. And it's not as easy as it sounds. There's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of debate. There's disagreement. But in the end, they make a decision, and we back those decisions, and we think these guys do a great job picking these teams.
Well, I want to. You had your opening speech or starting of the thing. You really touched home on things, and I guess the message you sent out is, hey, do what's right for the players in New Mexico. I know we all know that you want your player to be on here, but let's do the right thing for the kids for New Mexico. And I thought everybody, they fought for the deal, but it wasn't like big arguments or anything like that. They all collectively did a great job.
And I think collectively is what's true. You'll hear a lot of people say that I'm here to represent my kids, or I'm here to represent our district's kids, and they are there representing them. But in the end, it's the New Mexico High School Coaches Association, all-state teams, all-star teams, and so those coaches are there to represent us, to represent the organization, so that we can get it right, because we do want to do what's best for kids. That's the number one goal. And it's hard because sometimes kids are closer and you're making objective decisions with subjective logic sometimes. But the number one goal of our organization in these all-star games and all-state teams is to be good to kids and do what's best for them. And it's not an easy task, but that's our expectation.
A new venue, I guess, a new area.
We're going to Gallup. Yes, sir. We're going to Gallup, New Mexico, to have 6 all-star games this weekend, plus the slam dunk competition and three-point shooting contest on Friday night after the 1A, 2A games. And so we're excited about going down there. Gallup has been fantastic. Ben Chavez down there, Jessica Dooley, Fern Spencer, Sammy C. They've all been really good to this endeavor. And so we're excited about being down there, and hopefully we can put some few people in the stands.
Well, I'm excited just to get to eat at Sammy C's. I've been promising for 10 years, Buster. For 10 years, I said I'm going to come eat, and finally, when you said, hey, we're going to be, I fulfilled what I said I was going to do for 10 years ago.
Well, Sammy C's, if you haven't been to Sammy C's restaurant in Gallup, New Mexico, it's a New Mexico treasure. And we are really excited about bringing our kids into that facility. It's a staple in New Mexico. It's on there on the level of the Frontier restaurant, and some of the places around our great state that we all know about and we go to when we travel. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a museum, and we're going to check the kids there. In there, we're going to feed our staff, and we're going to feed the kids there one night, an evening meal, a sit-down dinner. And Sammy C's been good to us, and his broadcast companies in the Gallup area have been really good to us also.
Well, I'll tell you, a class act, when you do. I mean, I've gotten to know him through the New Mexico Bowl and through the MMA Foundation, things like that. And, I'm excited just to go get to
and Sammy for so long, he broadcasted those cross-country championships that were broadcast around the whole venue. For cross country when the state championships were there in Gallup, and that became a staple for those kids and those coaches. And we inducted him into our Distinguished Service Award I want to say about 6 years ago, and he's a good guy. He's good for New Mexico. He's good for New Mexico kids, and we're glad that we can help his organization, his restaurant.
And ProView will be there. We'll be streamed.
ProView will be there. I'm excited about you guys coming over. We haven't got to work with you in a few years with COVID happening and not having ball games, and then
the change of schedule too.
Well, I'm gonna throw in this APS thing. We haven't been able to get there because APS didn't allow us in, and that's okay too. Adrian's a smart guy, and I think he did well with that, and the outcome was good. But we're looking forward to ProView being back, broadcasting red versus green All-Star games, and it's going to be fun. I mean, come watch these kids play. Come watch them play.
I'll tell you, we're just go to a break real quick and go watch the Dream Style Top 10 plays, and then we'll come back and talk about the coaches and how you determine who the coaches were.
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
Hit 61 earlier this year. But Hope with a steal and a bucket. Noah Perry puts Hope on the board first. Full court press.
Lovato gets his second bucket. Just reared his head down and put it up for two with the left hand. 8-4, there's a bucket and one. Cruz with the bucket.
Some of them are in khakis. Here's the offense. Three-point basket by number one is good. And we are tied with 4 seconds left.
Charlie. 5 quick turnovers. I'm sure Coach Otero. There's 6 right here.
Another bucket, and that is Antalelu.
Hill in the corner. Buries a 3. Andrew Hill with 17 points.
Under 50 points.
Seconds left. Back door to Stanford. Scoops and scores. Lays it in.
What a pass by Buster.
No, Storm fan want a foul. Instead, the Jags end up with the ball. Morris pulls up 3, puts it down. Back-to-back threes.
Run and be patient. Now they got to speed the process.
Under his legs on the pass. What a dime from Kellen Garris to Justin Mass. That's going to be on the top 10. Under his legs.
Now again.
Can't foul here if you're Pius. Ball goes to Estrada. He'll put up 3. And it goes in at the buzzer. Damian Estrada closes the game out for Valencia. And stay tuned.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. We got Buster Mabrey here, Executive Director of New Mexico High School Coaches Association. And Buster, I know a few of the coaches because I have to tell the story. It's just funny. So the Mazzano coach and Shauna Minis were, trading players, trading deals. It was, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but
You are getting them in trouble right now. You are getting them in trouble.
and then they flip the coins and who was going to get the wet team or whatever and then both of them were, well, do I really want to coach this team or do I want to coach this team? And it was
So it's kind of fun.
It was like I said, I didn't want to get anybody up deal, but it was hilarious. They wanted, they found out there was 4 Sandia players, probably which is the deal that they wanted to divide them up and stuff like that. So they wanted to make it where it was competitive. I thought that was classy.
It's the number one thing we got going right now, Steve, is that the first thing these coaches do when they pick these teams is they rank the top 24. And they go 1 through 24, and they have to use their district's ranking. So first the districts rank athletes. And they'll rank their athletes 1 through 5 or 1 through 6. They don't really nominate too many more than that. They probably shouldn't because one district's not going to get 35% of the kids. But they rank them 1 through 24, and then they start dividing them out. The coaches draft a little bit, but they don't know whose team they got until I come over and flip the coin. And when we flip the coin, we're Team A and Team B, and then whoever wins the coin flip gets to choose Team A or Team B. And then they do a little bit of finagling sometimes to get a kid that they coach maybe on their team, and the other guy gets to pick someone to make that switch. And so the goal is just to have a good time, one, to put a competitive event on the floor and be good to kids. And I think we do that.
Well, and then here, this was, I don't know if this, I should be saying, no, it's all good. So you said the top 24. Well, at my table there was 28.
There's probably 30.
Okay.
I know.
They put 28, 29 or whatever, on our table it was 28, and then Sean Shaw come over and they were really having a hard time between one kid and another kid for that 24th spot, and they were just going. They wanted a different opinion of. They told them who it was between, and they got their input on making that final decision. I don't know who that was.
You know what, Steve? That's the beauty of this. It's like it is difficult. It really is, especially when you start getting down in the lower 12. It's hard sometimes to decipher. Because there's good kids out there that didn't make the list. But there's people out there that believe those good kids deserve to be on that list. And so they do get as many people involved. They bring outside opinions. That's what's the great thing about the room is we had one side of it was doing All-State. The other side of it was doing All-Stars. And they got to be able to intermingle a little bit so that you have more minds, more thinking into the decision process. And that's, we're trying to make this thing better and better, but that's a positive thing. And it happened all over the room where they reached out to the other side, the All-State side, and brought some other opinions in. And it's just, the more minds we have in the process, I think the better opportunity we have to get it more right.
And the other thing, getting back to right, was, once they picked a kid, and I don't know how they did this, but they called that coach and see if that player was going to be available.
Correct.
Because a lot of schools are going to be in spring break next week. They might be out of town. They may take vacations or whatever. So to give that 26th or 27th person an opportunity to move up the ladder.
Well, we don't take alternates. And the reason why we don't is we pick these teams late Sunday night, and we got to be in Gallup on Thursday. So we don't have time to do the back and forth with alternates. So we ask these coaches to reach out to their peers and find out whether or not a kid's going to play. And we don't always get that decision exactly right, but we do reach out and ask. And if they're not going to play, we don't put them on the team. Now, All-State's different. We want the best kids, and if there's an injury out there that might keep a kid from playing on the All-Star team, that young man or young lady can still be recognized at the All-State level. But we only want to choose kids for the All-Star team that we know are going to play. And because the idea is to have a good game, and it's not fair to kids if we know someone's not going to play. For example, if they're on crutches and they're not going to play. We don't want to bring them to Gallup and let them hang out. We want to get kids there that can play and compete. So we think that's fair to everybody.
Well, you have one of those players. So
Yes, we did.
The kid from Del Norte, Shane is not going to be here because he's in crutches. He's one of those players.
Yes,
But I thought really, the word fairness and and after your speech, because I've heard stories over this, people putting their players, packing their players, putting things over the years, even before your time. I mean, this goes.
Yes,
this
sir.
this is a historical thing. And you gotta love it when a coach fights for his player, though. Too.
Absolutely. And if a coach doesn't fight for their player, who's going to? It's not going to be the opposing coach, But there's a part of this where there's a professionalism to it, and that professionalism is that we're in this business to be good to kids, to be good to communities, to be good to schools, and part of doing that is having the wherewithal to understand that some kids are better than others, and we need to get those better kids on those teams. And so coaches, all in all, do a very good job of that. Now, I've been a part of hundreds of these meetings. I mean, I've been in the room. I've set the meetings up. I've been in the room. I have released the results of these meetings, and I have taken the kickback when people disagree, because that's my job. But I really do respect these coaches. I think they do a good job. They understand. And I want to tell everyone out there are disagreements. And sometimes those disagreements get a little bit tough to deal with. But all in all, they have to make a decision. They have to work it out. They have to come to a conclusion. And they do. And we support that.
I tell you, great showing. I was, when you asked me to come, I just didn't realize how many coaches were going to be there. State tournament, and some of the people that lost, second place weren't there. Were there. They showed up, and that's tough to do.
Well, there's nothing. That brick wall, the state basketball tournament, where when you get beat, it literally is like hitting a wall and everything comes crashing down. But I go back to the professionalism of high school coaches and their commitment to those things. And all in all, either they're there, all right? So Lisa Villarreal was there. Joe Carpenter was there. And we can go down.
My buddy Branch. I got to speak Branch.
Branch is
right there.
And poor Branch had a tee called on his assistant.
He wants to make a new rule. I just want the new rule is that the assistant's got to sit out the next game.
Well, if I was the head coach, if I was James Branch, that guy might sit out the rest of his career. Because you don't get, as an assistant coach, you do not get a technical in the last 2 or 3 minutes of a state championship game. You just don't do it.
Well, and I don't want to speak on that behalf, but it really distracted Coach Branch. I witnessed it and saw it, and like you said, a crucial time. That's the last thing you really need to be concerned about is one, losing the ball, going to the free throw line, and then getting the possession. You need that coaching staff to support you. So.
Well, what's funny is I didn't know who they gave the tee to. So as soon as I saw Coach Branch standing in that line, waiting to get checked in, I was like, Coach, who got the tee? And he's like, my assistant. And I'm like, oh, poor guy. The poor guy, man. And but you know what? What a great basketball tournament.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a break, come back, and we'll talk more about the All-Star game, green, red, green.
Red or green. They're both hot, though.
Okay, there we go.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier. Like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from U.S. Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. Buster Mabrey, Executive Director of New Mexico High School Coaches Association. And Buster, I tell you, here's, we were talking about, last week, and I've been going almost 25 years, okay? And the games were, every game was down to the wire. What a great state tournament. I mean, I love the quarterfinals. I just love sitting and see those teams play, and I think 6 of the 8 games that played that day were decided by 1, 2, or 3 points.
It was great. It was competitive. It was fun. It was entertaining, and I had a great time at the state basketball tournament. And I compliment Sally Marcus and her staff for the work they did. I mean, it's difficult. I saw those guys yesterday and today, and they're tired. They really are. And ProView Networks, they're there all day, every day, 5 days. It's a huge event, but what makes it great is all these kids are representing their communities, and they're representing their mothers and their fathers and their brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and the tradition of high school basketball in New Mexico. And I love seeing it on display, at the state basketball tournament every year. And there's a lot of talk about elite athletes. And there's a lot of talk about, what is competition, what is competitive. And I'm going to tell you right now, the New Mexico State basketball tournament is as good as it gets in high school basketball. It's as good as it gets, and
I want to say it's like the top 4 in the country.
I
say it's number 1, but I'm just saying on everybody else rated across the thing, it's not like the top
just the
1.
number of people that watch it online. You've talked about that over the years, and how many people show up. I mean, the pit's packed, and it's one of the premier venues in the country to play basketball at. It's loud, it's exciting, just the way it's set up, and I love going, and I've been going for a really long time, and I look forward to it every year.
Well, here's something about the pit, and you'll agree with this, is that every kid that steps on that court, they remember it the rest of their life.
Yes, they do.
I mean, it's like they're, even if they don't just get to warm up, if they just get to do it, just be in that environment.
Absolutely. And and they're told about it from their moms and their dads and their relatives, and they go and they've gone to watch over the years, and they look forward to their opportunity to be on that floor. And when they get that opportunity, they're going to pass that along too. Nothing like the New Mexico State High School basketball championships.
And we don't want to forget Bernalillo and also, Santa Ana Star. I mean, what? And going back to your statement about the MMA, Sally Marcus, and the staff. I mean, she couldn't do it without that staff. That staff has been there, and it's so many moving parts. But it just seemed like it flowed so well.
Yes, absolutely. And you talk about moving parts. I mean, just they fed I don't know how many people. So they have those meals rolling in at noon and at night. They have people that are checking badges.
They got halftime events going on.
They have so much going on. I mean, they're rolling out those reunions. I mean, Coach Holzman was in the pit this year for, I think, a 25th year reunion of his last state championship basketball team. And to bring those kids in and to bring Coach Holzman out with his green jacket on and to watch the crowd react to Coach Holzman, I mean, the NMAA staff makes that happen. Mindy makes those things happen. I mean, it's just, I think they do a great job, and I'm proud. I'm proud of our state association, and it's tough stuff. Tough decisions got to be made sometimes. But I think they really do care, and I think they give you everything they got, and it's as good as any place in the country.
Well, and just the New Mexico, how do I say that, is the basketball fans. They're excited. I look across. We're up high, and I look across, and there's people that sit in the same seats for as many years as I've been going. Okay, and the same. They don't know who I am or anything. I just know that they're there. Don't know their names or anything like that. But I kind of look forward to see if they're going to show up this year.
And they do, don't they?
They sure do. They really do.
I love watching them come in the office and buy those tickets. Those season tickets. I don't know about season tickets, but that event ticket that they've had for season after season after season. For 15, 25 years. Judge Chavez and his family have had their seats for. I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to say decades, for sure, decades.
Real quickly, let's talk about go through this weekend real quick.
Well, this weekend, kids, single A, double A, red versus green teams show up on Thursday. They're going to play Friday at 3:00. The girls are, and the boys at 5:00. And then when that's over with, we're going to have the Sammy C's slam dunk and three-point shooting contest. And those are at Gallup High School on Friday, March 17th. On Saturday, March 18th, we're going to kick off at 11 a.m. with 5A girls and 1 o'clock with 5A boys. And then the 3A, 4A games will be 3 o'clock will be the girls and 5 o'clock will be the boys. Cash only, no pre-sales. You got to buy tickets at the door the old-fashioned way. And we're going to have a good time.
Hey, thanks, Buzz, for coming on.
Yes, sir.